So Caitlin Clark's agent has just done an interview, and obviously this is where, you know, some of the clips have been coming from. A lot of the sound bites and like the quotes have been coming from, and some of the things that she has been talking about, I actually think the quotes made it seem a little bit worse than it was. I know a lot of people are obviously kind of freaking out about this, but this is what she said, and look, I'm not the biggest fan of Caitlin Clark's agent, but I don't think she said anything that wrong here, in my opinion.
You live this industry every day. It feels like it's been a record year, and I can't even say it feels. It was a record year for women's sports last year.
By the way, let's be real. Women's sports. So that includes like tennis. It includes like Simone Biles, what she did at the Olympics. It includes everything. Like, it is not just basketball.
This year. It's likely going to be another one this year. What's driving all this? Why now?
Look, you've got years and years of kind of built up infrastructure. I mean, you really can go back to Title IX being passed and then what that sort of allowed for women's sports.
I want to be honest here. Obviously, look, Title IX did not hurt women's sports. Obviously, Title IX helped women's sports a lot. It really did help women's sports a lot. But that's just an American thing. There's the growth of women's sports for years has been happening worldwide. Like, I'm pretty sure El Clasico had nearly 100,000 people in, what was it, around 2022. I remember talking to someone about that, how the women's El Clasico in soccer had nearly 100,000 people, how a lot of the female soccer players became celebrities. Obviously, tennis, like, whether it's men's or women's Wimbledon, they still sell out. So the explosion in women's sports, this is not just a 2024 thing, but in basketball in America, maybe you can argue it's been a 2024 thing. So, like, it starts long before Title IX, because of all sports like tennis, gymnastics, like those type of things, like those type of sports, people are like, oh, it started with Title IX. It started long before that, because there were sports that were successful. So I don't know why that is seen as, obviously it's a huge thing. But like people saying, oh, that was the start of it all, when it was there a lot, like the growth was long before that.
Certainly in basketball, you have the WNBA that's approaching 30 years old. So 30 years of continued investment and honestly, amazing quality of play. Like, none of this would exist without the talent and the hard work of the players and their persistence and perseverance over many, many years. So you've got all of that. And then just this last college season, you had Caitlin Clark really come through, and she was like gasoline on those embers that were already sort of in place, and it just took off.
Like she said nothing wrong there. She literally said, okay, yeah, you know, women's sports was doing well, like it was growing because of the level of play in the league. And objectively, that's true. Like, the WNBA was growing. That's what everyone said, where it was like, it was growing, and shot to the ceiling. She literally said, the embers that were kind of sort of there, or was it kind of already there? She didn't even say, she didn't even say, like, oh, you know, Caitlin Clark was already going and Caitlin Clark joined. Like, it was like it was kind of there.
We're already sort of in place.
We're already sort of in place. So she basically just said, okay, yeah, you know, there was something there, and then Caitlin Clark shot it to the damn moon. That's essentially what she has said. And people are there thinking like, oh, she did the all players matter, where it's like, one, no, do you want her to say the WNBA was dying before Caitlin Clark? And if you believe it's the truth or not, I actually don't care. For argument's sake, do you want her to say that when she represents Nafisa Collier and Enrique Agumbawale? People are like, oh, if she was asked why women's sports grew, said Caitlin Clark. That's ignoring Simone Biles. That's ignoring the Spain team that won in the women's, was it World Cup? It's ignoring all of this type of stuff. It's ignoring all of sports. It's ignoring tennis. It's ignoring the Williams sisters, what they did in the past. What the likes, even before the Williams sisters, of likes of Navratilova, Billie Jean King, Monica Seles, Like Hingis was a little bit before the Williams sisters. Heck, and even to an extent, when you're looking at tennis in terms of global stardom, of freaking Kornikova. She wasn't even that good, but, well, I say that Kornikova was really freaking good, but like never world number one, but obviously ultra famous. So if she was to say Caitlin Clark is the only reason for the growth of women's sports, and I just named tennis players off the top of my head, no, it was like the WNBA was going. A little bit of growth, still losing money, but a little bit of growth, boom. And yeah, they lost more money last year because they paid for freaking charter flights. They lost more, people don't realize, they lost more money, but they generated significantly more money. Their costs just went up. So their costs next year are not going to go up, but their revenue is going to go up. And you're going to be seeing, especially with the TV deal, people are like, oh, they lost 50 million. It's like, yeah, because they've put infrastructure in place for that money coming in, and suddenly they're now getting 200 million a year, and instead of losing 50 million, they're gaining 150 by doing the same with the same outgoings. And heck, even if you double the team's salary, you're still gaining 100 million a year as a league. The league gets 42% of that. So let's just say they're gaining 50 million a year, which is more than the NBA is put in the history of the NBA. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm talking about. Like, I was like, she represents multiple league stars in the league, and still said that Caitlin was the reason it took off, rather than trying to give the credit to the rookie class. She didn't go all players matter because of Me Too. She didn't go that. She literally said, WNBA was doing okay. Caitlin Clark sent it to the moon. She said exactly what she needed to say. And it's like, she's literally an agent for fee. We need to take the scenic route to get there, and it would devalue other clients. Like, yeah, the only thing she could have done that was less scenic was say the WNBA was dead before Caitlin. And yeah, that devalues other clients. I'm sorry, all she said was, like, this is what she said, and people are getting really angry about this, and I'm like, I think people are misheard what she said. Or misheard the question that she was being asked. Because she said nothing wrong. She genuinely said nothing wrong. She represents athletes in the league. If she had gone and said, Caitlin, the WNBA was growing, and Caitlin and the whole rookie class helped it out. If she had said that, then yeah, I get it. There's a problem. Not there was a fire kind of sort of there, and she poured gasoline on the flames. Like, come on now, come on. Either way, though, look, I don't think that the agent did a good job when it came to the Nike deal. I actually think, as far as the other deals are concerned, like the Panini deal, there's been a lot of deals when it has come to Caitlin Clark that have been good. There has. Like, Caitlin Clark has had quite a lot of deals, good deals, as far as her brand is concerned. She's just had one really bad one. Unfortunately, it's probably the biggest brand deal. For me, like, it just doesn't, like, she screwed up one big one. So is that worth firing? Considering maybe it was worth the guts of 40 million. And that's a minimum 40 million. The agent lost her, maybe. But at the same time, look, Caitlin Clark is going to she made 11 million endorsements last year, and that's with the terrible Nike deal. With all her endorsements this year, in the year of 2025, considering the fact how many she's done already this year, she's probably on track to make 15 million in endorsements this year. So I don't think Caitlin Clark is putting too much emphasis on, or putting too much worry into the fact that she might make 15 million instead of 20 million next year. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I do think, again, it's an interesting thing, and it is one of those things where it's like, you almost mishear things sometimes. And I am as bad as anyone for that. I 100% do it. It's like, you think everything is kind of an attack on Caitlin, because a lot of the stuff is. That's pretty much it. Like, because a lot of the stuff that these people put out is a direct attack on Caitlin Clark, you think it's like very easy. And by the way, like, this is not a video calling out Ken Swift. There were an awful lot of people that were agreeing with this take and thought that it was like a people watch for Me Too moment. And I'm like, Don't think it is. I don't think it is, to be fair. And by the way, in this article as well, she said that Caitlin Clark will never be paid what she's worth for the WNBA, which is also true. I've always said this, like, she is not being paid. She's being paid less than 0.5% of what she's worth to that league. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Or do you guys... And by the way, if you guys don't agree with this, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. You guys can argue it out in the comments. But anyway, yeah. That is the video. Also, shout out to Ken Swift for sharing this. Would not have seen it without him. Even though, obviously, I don't agree with this take. That is the good thing. That is the good thing, unlike the old guard in the WNBA. You can disagree with a take and not hate the person and not call the person all sorts of names and not call everyone insults and not call someone whatever, any sort of ist because they have an opinion that differs to yours on a topic. But anyway, I'll see you guys.